Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Beyond the Label podcast. I'm here with Sarah Fung, the founder of HULA, and we're in their warehouse right now in Curry Bay in Hong Kong. I'm going to show you guys around later. This is such an amazing space, and thank you so much, Sarah, for inviting us in and to be here today.
Thank you, Leanne. It's been great to finally do this and for you coming over. I'm really excited to show you the space in a bit. But yeah, we only moved in here a few weeks ago, so we're really excited that we've got this amazing new space.
I mean, I've known about the HULA warehouse for forever when you guys were in your previous location, and your like physical shop front in Central is literally just like on my way to everything.
Dangerous.
So, yeah, exactly. So sometimes I just like, oh, it's like raining or whatever. I just walk into the HULA store and just like, oh my gosh, I want everything.
I know it's actually, well, we say it's just like, so convenient going there. And here, on the other hand, we've got thousands of pieces where you do need hours to go through. If you want to see everything. In Central, you can literally pop in like you do, for like 20 minutes and get your fashion fix.
Yeah, like, guys, like my view right now is insane. There's literally like hundreds or thousands of clothing. And so HULA does like pre-loved items.
We call it pre-owned because some of our pieces have never been worn before. Right. So I like the word pre-loved as well, but we've got a lot of pieces with still tags on it, so we just say it's pre-owned. And we've been around since 2017.
2017, so that is pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Pre-everything. Wow.
Yeah. It's a long time ago. Yeah. And actually a lot of people didn't realize I started that early. I was still doing part-time jobs when I was starting this. So I was, it was a kind of like me and my sister started it. And then she left after a year to go back to UK. And it was just me and my intern, and that was it. So I do know every single process that happens in this space. And yeah, I must admit it was pretty difficult when I first started, because I think people were just like, who's going to buy pre-owned, like, secondhand, like why? Because obviously in Asia there's, a bit of a stigma attached to worn pieces of clothing or whatever, and people say that bad luck can rub off on you. And so I was aware but not fully aware that it was so apparent. I did get like Western customers, but I was collecting a lot more than I was obviously selling, and I could collect some really good pieces obviously because I had previously worked at Lane Crawford for almost a decade. And I had so many friends and contacts from there that had maybe left Lane Crawford and worked for other luxury brands. So I did start off by collecting from industry insiders. And so I knew the products were real and they were really good quality and the best style. And so, that's how I started. But yeah, it was tough.
Yeah. And back to what you mentioned just now about, especially, I guess, like in Chinese culture, like we refuse and resist like secondhand anything. And like my parents would just be like, oh, there will be like negative energy and just like bad vibes that stick onto like pre-owned things. So how do you start like educating people and introducing in this idea?
I did have to do a lot of talks, panels. We wrote a lot of blog articles about the benefits of buying pre-owned. There's so many benefits, from the lower price to being able to buy better quality pieces for the similar price to fast fashion sometimes. And that way you tend to love the pieces more. They don't break apart in the wash. You can resell them. I kind of believe that when you buy a fast fashion item, like as soon as you walk out that door, that there's no value in that item anymore, no longer, and it's very hard to resell. So I do believe in buying better quality so that you can keep it in the system for longer and enjoy it for longer. Apart from that, obviously, textiles waste is the second largest pollutant in the world. Well, no, actually, it's not just textiles waste, it's
Mm-hmm.
the production of fashion itself.
Right.
From everything, you know, to do with how the fabric is produced, the amount of water it wastes, and etc. Honestly, when I first started the business, I'd worked in fashion almost all my life, and I never knew that fashion was the second biggest pollutant
Yeah.
worldwide. It was very well hidden.
When was
And
this
this
when you
was in
realized?
2016, just before I started HULA, and I was doing some research and stuff. And my game was to not the sustainability angle. It was more because I just thought there's so much waste in the industry. And I was just hearing that a lot of friends and colleagues were just buying a lot and didn't know where to offload it anymore. And I was a big secondhand shopper when I was in UK.
Right.
And I just thought, yeah, why isn't there anything like this? So I initially started as an online business, but yeah, I didn't know the effects of fashion actually. And it was as soon as I knew that, I was like, okay, so this is a business worth starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So basically it came from you realizing the like this side of the industry and then your own passion about like shopping vintage and that habit of yours that kind of like led to now Hula.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a really big thrifter, and I can literally look at every single piece on the rail and not get tired, you know.
Yeah.
I think when some people, when they do that, it's very overwhelming for them if they're
Yeah.
not used to it. But, you know, in the UK, US, and in the Europe, it was, you know, and even in Japan, it's very popular. So it was what I grew up with. And yeah, of course, when I worked at Lane Crawford for a decade, I saw beautiful designer pieces, and so my eyes were drawn to all these other things where I had an amazing discount card. And yeah, I stopped buying pre-owned for a long time because I was here, and yeah, it was just a different kind of scene, I guess. So yeah, when I started, I guess it was very kind of a surprise for people because they were like, oh, but you know, you've worked at Lane Crawford, like why would you want to sell secondhand clothing, you know? So it took a while for people to kind of accept it, for sure.
Well, I mean, when you were just now like talking about you starting with just your intern, I'm already so curious about how this vision of yours, you know, like sustain and how it continued to motivate you because it has to be like I feel that it has to be something that you really are passionate about to go from there to here building a whole warehouse. So how did that process come along?
I must admit, I'm very, what's the word? I'm very persistent.
Yes.
And I have a lot of energy. I don't really get tired. I'm very positive. So I'm always a yes person.
Right.
Like, I always think you can do it. And I think that probably annoys my staff a lot of the time. Yes, you can. So yeah, I'm very much half glass full type of person, and I think that really helps. I think it's very hard to start a business if you're not, to be honest, because if you're always thinking of the negatives, you'll never start it, and every hurdle will be very hard. And I think for us, I mean, obviously the first 2 years were horrible, and I was, you know, really like, what am I doing? And I just, you know, me and my husband put money into this business and it was just literally all gone. And I was like, oh my God, like, you know, we did have a little opening, and it was because other pre-owned sites were coming in and making a lot of noise. And I honestly thought, oh my God, they're going to kill us. But actually, it just promoted the business model. And then we opened the warehouse in 2019. I think when people can see and physically shop items, it became a game changer. So we have, although it's been tough, we have grown every single year. And I think that's what also gives me the energy to carry on, because I keep thinking, no, there is something in there. You know, our company's growing, our sales are growing, even if it's small comparative to, you know, other companies. I think that's also something that, you know, proves that I'm on the right track. And also the other thing is that during COVID and during all this time, the pre-owned sector has grown massively. It's a business model that people in the fashion industry are constantly talking about now. So I do know I'm in the right space, and I'm very fortunate that I have this type of business that has suddenly propelled obviously if I didn't, I wouldn't be here.
Because I mean, it was quite innovative the time
At
that
the
you
time,
started.
for Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah, not for elsewhere, I guess.
So, what was your biggest challenge, like, in this journey of pushing out this concept?
I think it is the mindset, actually, honestly. I think for Hong Kong, it has been a challenge. My customer base, luckily, was always very Western minded, you know, expats, you know. So I always had that following, and they were always like, oh my God, thank God you're here. I don't know where else to shop. I only shop in Europe, you know, in the States. And, you know, what I think what we provide is obviously the middle market, because there's very, very high end stuff in Hong Kong that's quite expensive and probably overpriced. And then there's the very low end, you know, the shops, the small shops, and also there's high street. So a lot of people were always saying there's kind of nothing in between.
Yeah.
And although we do have high-end pieces, you know, obviously our price points are discounted. So it's kind of like I said, it's a win-win. You know, you get cheaper pieces that are great quality.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if it hadn't have been for that sector of women at the early days that were really kind of helping me to push it and were my core customers, then yeah, it would have been, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, I wouldn't be surviving at all.
I mean, that's amazing, because obviously it's such a good idea, and like you said, now there are so many different channels and platforms doing like a similar thing. So I think, like, would you say having that initial response from that core customer base and having those feedback that like thank God you're here, like, finally something like this exists in Hong Kong, does that like really motivate you as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I always, when people give me compliments or they say, you know, I like, I'm so glad you're here and thank you, I always say, God, you know, these words are gold to me, seriously, because they get me out of bed. But on another hand, I mean, I've actually had a business before. When I was in London, I had a lingerie brand. I did that for about 6 or 7 years. I sold to high-end stores worldwide. It was tough.
Yeah.
But for me, that was also the thing, was customers going, oh, I love your stuff, and that really helps to keep you going, you know. But on another hand is when you actually have a business, that may not be the only thing that keeps you going. And I shortly realized that having a sustainable business actually gave me a double edge in a way, because not only do I get up out of bed for those customers that are wanting this service, but I also get out of bed for the world, you know, in essence. I mean, it's not like saving the planet, like literally, but you know, it does give you like another kind of reason to pursue the business, because you know it is helping the planet and it's helping people. And I think when there's meaning behind a business, no matter how small, I mean, we're a small drop in the ocean, but yeah, it does give you the kind of the power to carry on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I think that's actually something that a lot of people don't realize, is to have like a bigger meaning behind whatever you do. Because I definitely have met people and talked about this, about, you know, making a business because of the money, because other people are doing it, and for all these different reasons. And it does make money, it does, you know, go to a certain point, but then I feel that for the entrepreneur themselves, it's not like a sustainable long term. Like you said, you don't necessarily want to like wake up and hustle and like fight for this.
Yeah, I mean, of course there is the hustling part, and I do worry about money, that's not going to be a lie, and I do want it to succeed. I'm not a charity either. But if you have money as your first goal, you shortly realize that money doesn't really make you happy at the end of the day. I mean, it can make life easier, but it can't solve all your problems. And having a business is really tough. And so if that is your only goal, it's probably not going to survive, because it won't bring you happiness. Yeah, I think you need to do something that you're very passionate about, like you said. Yeah.
Speaking of this, when you mentioned earlier that you and your husband put money into the business and it wasn't going as you planned initially as an entrepreneur, what were some of the thoughts that you were having? How did you process them?
Well, I had to get a job. So that was, and I put all the money back into the business. So that's how I made it survive for at least 6 months. And that wasn't great because I was working so many things. I was doing, everything and this part-time job. And my husband has always been very supportive, but he did at some point say, I am not giving you any more money. You need to sort this out. And I also had bled, my account dry. So I was like, oh gosh, I've got to make this work. And I think when you know that there's nothing else, you just hustle. That's what I did. I was like, I'm not giving up yet because I still had customers. I still realized the power of what I was doing, and I just made it work. I worked incredibly hard. And anybody who doesn't think that having their own business means that you have to work day in and day and night should actually never start one. There's so much to do. Yes. Honestly, you have to basically look at work like it's not really work. If you enjoy it, which I do, I don't kind of go, oh, I've got to finish this day, I'm so tired, I need to do, I need to have my work-life balance. There is no work-life balance. My life is my work and my work is my life, and that's fine that way. I am happy like that. So I think you need to have that mindset for sure.
I resonate with this so much.
And you do spend a long time at work, so you do have to ensure that you're happy in that space. There's no point going somewhere that is going to drain you for your whole life. So yeah, I think you need to obviously pick the right business or pick the right job.
It's definitely like some type of people in society that can do this.
Yeah.
What are some of the specific traits about you that makes you an entrepreneur?
It's the things that I said. It was I'm a positive person. I'm very hardworking. I'm very persistent. I really don't take no for an answer that often, and I always think there's a way because I'm very creative in my thinking. And so if this channel doesn't work, I'll switch it out and use something else, or I'm thinking around it rather than thinking literally. So I always, like, the thing is that I went to art college, I went to St. Martin's, and I'm a creative person, and people always say to me, why don't you ever get back to doing design? And I always think, I actually don't know if I want to be a creative person in that realm. I'm more of a creative thinker, I think. I just like to, and I think you need that in business, and people don't cherish that, or they don't promote it as much, especially in Hong Kong. Creativity in your mindset and thinking outside the box is really important. And every business person, entrepreneur, CEO, whatever, needs to have this in part of their kind of personality, remix. So yeah.
No, I absolutely agree. Like, it's so important to allow the creativity flourish. And I want to go back to what you said about your positivity. How do you come back up from those times?
I think because my childhood was pretty tough. Like my parents didn't have much, and then they got divorced when I was 7, and I was put into kind of foster care for a good few years with English parents, where I called them mom and dad for a while. When I was 16, my mother actually passed away in a car crash. And so a lot of things happened during that time, and it made me so resilient that whatever happened afterwards, I kept thinking, well, it can't be as worse as it was. So I've only climbed up. I've never had to fall down because it used to be so bad. So in that essence, sometimes, like I said, the spoon that you're fed doesn't mean that it needs to mark who you are for the rest of your life. People have the power to change it, and you should use all of the negative stuff that happens to you to turn it into a positive, regardless of, my mother passed away when I was 16. It was super tough. It was, I was independent at that point. But if she hadn't have been, then maybe I wouldn't be so independent, or maybe I wouldn't have this fight. I was fostered. It was really shit. Hated it there. But actually, because it was English parents, my I became very Western and my English became really good. And so you got to kind of like look at different reasons of why you might have been there.
Yeah.
And that's what I say, half glass full and not half glass empty. I mean, I'm not, obviously I do have bad moments, but I always try and, you know, they never last too long.
That is such a beautiful way of putting that, because there are so many different ways of dealing with things, and for you to choose that cautiously and really know that, like, okay, now it can only go from up. Not everyone can do that.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, because, you know, the stuff that I think wasn't great for my upbringing happened more earlier in life. Yeah, it's only done this. So I'm really happy that everything, you know, has been better for me.
Yeah.
I guess for some people, if they've had a really good upbringing and then suddenly something happens, then they're not used to dealing with stuff. And I think that's also, you know, one of the reasons why, you know, like, I think people do need to be grateful. Like, somebody asked me the other day, what is the most important thing to life? And I said, gratitude. It really is, because if you can be grateful for everything that you get, even this glass of water, because somebody else doesn't have one, then you'll always be happy.
Yeah. My brain is just like spinning so much.
Sorry, is that too much?
No, because I'm actually tying this back to your business.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, people chase the next new thing, and people always feel like they don't have enough, so they buy and buy and buy, and, you know, that, like, everyone have been in their own wardrobe looking at a room full of clothes and feel like they have nothing to wear.
Yeah. I mean, I get that too.
Yeah.
And we're just human. So we do want things. Of course we want things.
Yeah.
I want nice things too. And I do want to make money. You know, I'm not a Buddhist. Well, I am. I have a Buddhist mindset, but
Yeah.
I'm not a monk. I do want good things, but at what price? I always think I am intrinsically happy in myself.
And speaking of gratitude, so I have this question that I ask every guest, usually at the end of the pod, but I feel this will be a good time to ask you first. So what is one thing that you love most about yourself?
I think it is the positivity angle. I think that gets me places, and I always, if I say yes to things, it got me here.
Yeah.
You know, I will say yes to, maybe someone says, you know, why don't you enter a competition? Then I'll be like, okay, and I'll enter it, and maybe I win, or you know, or and the other thing is I'm quite brave. I don't think that anything is a problem or a hurdle. So I end up overstretching myself all the time, and sometimes it can be a problem because then I'm like really stressed and I'm overworked, or maybe I'm naive because I thought I could do something when I clearly couldn't. But I think having that is actually kind of a blessing in a way, because it makes me do things rather than questioning things all the time.
Yeah, I was also wondering while you were speaking that being, you know, positive and like saying yes to things all the time, it must come with the flip side, which is what you said, like the possible burnout and overwhelm. So when this happen, like how do you deal with that?
I chat to friends and other entrepreneurs and my sister and my husband. I think having a good network of people around you is super important when you're starting a business, or if you have one. I have different people that I would reach out for different things, like, you know, somebody I might reach out to talk to about business issues. I have advisors as well. I think that's really important. I have a best friend. I have, you know, I'm lucky to have really good people around me, and a sister that I can tell anything to. And so that is my release. And apart from that, obviously I try and, you know, work out, eat healthy, and look after myself, because you have to. So you used the word lucky just now to describe the connection that you have, but I feel that, because this is one thing that some other of my guests also mentioned, you know, having a good network, but really I don't think it's luck, because I feel that, no, even just sitting here talking to you, you emit this energy, you know, and you open up. Thanks. And you, like, for real. It's just like, well, it's so nice talking to you. Thank you.
Yeah, so I feel that, you know, to have this network, to have the support, it's not just like the luck, it's also you putting in the effort and then reciprocating.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's it goes two ways.
Yeah.
You know, if you're open, then people will be open with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really don't mind talking about anything, and I'm not judgmental with people because I've done and seen so many things. I think also a lot of people might have a lot of friends around them, but really when it comes to the end of the day, are they really going to be there for them is another thing. But yeah, that's why people need to get rid of some bad energy if they feel like that sometimes. But yeah, good cleanup is good.
Yeah, exactly. Like setting those boundaries and like keeping your circle close.
Yeah. Or just knowing what people are there for, you know, like I know who I can trust. I know who I want to have drinks with. I know who I want to party with, but I know who are going to be my core. You know, if I was ill or anything, they would be there, you know.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's just amazing to even visualize. Because I think a lot of times we forget intention. Like, we forget to set an intention. Because even, like, with people, with friends, what I am picking up from this is that you need to have an intention when you reach out, when you, like, go to different people. Because I feel sometimes we just do things, when we do things blindly, we just kind of, like, lose track and, like, we don't know what's going on. And then we just end up, like, being like, oh, no, like what am I doing here? Even, like, with business, with anything, basically. So it's good to have that reminder that you remember, you know, you have different reasons with different people, with different work opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super strategic all the time, for sure. I mean, if I like people, I just like them.
Yeah.
But I must admit, I would say at the moment, I'm a bit upset with myself because I feel like I haven't seen as many people that I want to see for some time because I've been so busy. And so when I do that, I'm like, okay, I've really got to try and dedicate some time, and you know, it's important. But I guess the people around me know that I'm busy and they will not judge. They will just be like, whenever I'm ready, they've got their arms open. That's really important too when you're running a business and you're just so busy, you know.
Yeah, like I resonate with that so much. Like after this, I literally have to cancel all my plans for tomorrow because I cannot.
Oh gosh.
I think like what you said, sometimes I feel like I can do everything and anything, so I just stretch myself so thin. But in reality, I cannot. But yeah, so I feel you completely that you need supportive people who understand your kind of job and your lifestyle. And I feel like that's sometimes it's not easy to combine. Even for people who care about you, they sometimes will not fully understand because being an entrepreneur is such a specific path. I feel like, okay, you already have something that you want to share. Yeah, like how does that feel? Because it can be lonely, it can be difficult.
Yeah, I equate it similarly, and people might think I'm wrong, but I think it might be similar to having a child, and I don't have one. When my friends who have children are like, I'm just so busy, I can't, you know, they hardly pick up their phone. I don't judge them. I'm like, you know what? They're busy. Like, it's like they've got kids running around. Like, what do you expect? And if they don't message me 2 weeks and don't hook up, I'm fine, you know, because I do think it, and we talk about it, I think it's people who have done both say it's very similar in that respect. Obviously with your children you care a lot more for them, and there's a lot more risk to having children, I guess. I think it's probably a similar thing. So, and I guess I gravitate more towards entrepreneurs for that reason, to hang out with or to chat, because I know that they know exactly what I'm going through. And the same with mums, you know, like they will hang out with other mums, and I think that's, you know, the way that that we can get some kind of release, at least. I'm like, women who are able to have children and do a business, oh my god, I do not know how, especially if they don't get help. The ones in Europe, or they don't get help, and I'm just like, how do you do this? This is crazy.
No, I love that analogy actually, because like you just respect like friends who have to take care of family, who have to do those things, and you never even question that, oh, like they don't treasure our friendship because, you know, they have so much going on. But, you know, just to have like a similar kind of respect for entrepreneurs who know that, oh, they have their own like little baby that they have to take care
for
of.
sure.
Yeah.
And it's night and day, really.
And I feel with our personalities, I feel it's actually a little bit similar.
Yeah.
Like, we can always find things to do. Like, it never ends.
Yeah, totally. And that's good in a way. You keep yourself busy,
Yeah.
always pushing something forward, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have any advice actually for aspiring entrepreneurs? I feel like, so maybe 3 things that along the lines with how they prepare themselves into becoming an entrepreneur, and also how to adapt to this specific lifestyle.
I would say that pick the business wisely. If you've got a good product, then it will sell. It doesn't matter if you start a business and it's for sustainability or not, because if the product isn't good, it won't sell. Doesn't matter if it's good for the planet or not. I think people get very wrapped up in this, oh, but it's sustainable, so people are going to shop it. No, they're not. I mean, they might in the future, but right now sustainability is only the second reason why people shop. The first reason why people shop is obviously because the product is good and the price point is good. Yeah, just have a look at what you're producing. Don't start a business if it isn't sustainable at the same time, because I don't think you can anymore in this world. I think all businesses should have a sustainability element if possible.
Yeah.
And I think preparing for a lot of late nights, like I said, similarly to having children, you can't just have a child and be like, oh, I'm only going to look after it for 3 hours a day. It's persistent, it's hardworking, it's late hours. You're going to have to really enjoy work. If you're somebody that doesn't really enjoy work, then don't do it. The other thing is surround yourself by wonderful people, and make sure you don't get burnt out.
No, I love that. I love that when you mentioned always have like a sustainable element to it, because I used to be in the events planning industry and doing like decorations. I was in it for like 5-6 years, and I switched to media and doing this, and I feel that I'm actually so happy because the event industry was so wasteful. Like, I would feel so bad after every event, like throwing away all the balloons, all the flowers.
Balloons are a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like all the plastic, and there's just no other replacement yet to those kind of like 1-day decorations. And I just personally could not stand that anymore.
It's very sad, isn't it? Like, and I also think, I was like, oh gosh, I'm doing like a birthday, like what's the replacement balloon? Because balloons are happy and they look good.
They do.
And it's easy. And I was also thinking there should be a replacement balloon.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's just something to, like, that's such a good reminder, because I never thought of it until I was doing it, and like years in, because I would be promoting, like selling it to clients, like, oh, you should like buy this, buy that, and then the back of my head's like, no, maybe you shouldn't buy this. It's so wasteful.
It is. It's events, and I used to work in work in the brand creative department in Lane Crawford, and there was visual merchandising, right? And so we would they would build things, and afterwards it would be like, can't we reuse it, or can we store it? Oh no, storage is too expensive, don't have space. So in the end you ended up just throwing it. And it is so wasteful. I mean, when I was working there, I was thinking of all these different ways where you could have like modular systems where you could build it out and use it for different things, or it was hard. It's not easy to be sustainable, actually, and especially in Hong Kong when things are so easily made, and you can make them in like 2 days, so I think that's always the challenge, is the producing things again.
Well, I mean, on the topic of sustainability, you guys are like doing showcases or like pop-ups around that, hence like it's this the logo for that.
So actually, thanks for reminding me. People are probably thinking, what is that? So now that we've moved into this amazing space in Quarry Bay, it's like a 4,000 square foot shopping space. What we wanted to do was bring like-minded businesses together, sustainable businesses, mostly in Hong Kong, but not limited to, where we can feature them in the space and do some interesting topics around it, like when we launched so & Co is what it's called, so it's HULA & Co.
Okay.
And we will be launching it maybe every other month. When we first launched this, we did a panel discussion. The first one actually is about the 4 R's. So it's about resell, rent, recycle and restyle. So we've invited 4 different brands: Style Carousel that do rental, Kitto that do restyle, Kibbo that are recycling shoes, and the Future Rocks, which also does recycled jewellery, their marketplace. And obviously the resale part is us.
Yeah.
So the first panel discussion was talking about fashion sustainability, which is a really interesting topic and such a complicated topic to talk about. And it's just interesting topic because we haven't really solved it actually. So it's going to take a while.
Amazing. I mean, are you still looking for partners, or like,
yeah, of course,
you guys should all like come and like check this out?
Yeah, we will be doing another one in October, probably more on wellness, and then the Christmas one will be about sustainable gifting. Yeah, I think it's just everybody helping each other, sharing database. We already have a very good database that are into sustainable lifestyles. So yeah, why not? You know, we all kind of help each other grow. So yeah, I felt it was something that was really required in Hong Kong.
That's amazing. I mean, you don't know like where to buy or like even know about like sustainable things in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I mean, there's some little shops here and there, of course, and organic, you know, food shops and stuff. But yeah, I think it's just having a bit of a different spin on things. And I mean, we do curate it, so we will be doing that, you know, ourselves, and thinking about the right mix of brands. And especially for Taikoo Place, this is such a big, you know, like a office network of people, and most of them probably just go in and out of work every day, and they don't really think about what they're buying or consuming. So we've come in here to offer something different to the tenants that are here.
I mean, not just to this area, I feel like to all of Hong Kong.
Yeah, I mean, also all of
like we all know about HULA, we all know about what kind of work you guys are doing, and you guys are getting so much amazing exposure as well.
Thank you, with the help of you as well.
No, I feel like we really need to like tell people about this, because people are definitely interested. They just don't know where to go. So this is amazing. So you guys should definitely come check it out. So thank you so much today for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. And it's just so nice chatting to you. You're so natural, and I can tell that you are just a really lovely person.
Oh, thank you. You too. You too.
You're glowing.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Where can the audiences find you guys?
So obviously we are online. It's thehula.com. Most of our pieces are featured there. We have new in products that launch every Saturday, at least 150 or 200 pieces a week.
Oh my gosh.
Apart from that, we have this warehouse space in Quarry Bay where there's thousands of pieces, and also occasional pop-ups like & Co. Here, it's like thrifter's paradise. You can go through thousands of pieces and spend hours walking around, and it's super relaxing. And then in Central, we have our boutique, which is in the heart of the city in Hollywood Road, but you can literally pop in and out, and we will have 2 drops there every week on Tuesday and Friday, so you also get to see new in pieces. It's a shop that's curated specially, so it's seasonal and it's with a lot of really great stuff.
I mean, I love it, guys. So you guys should definitely check it out. And do you guys ship internationally?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you guys, go shop online.
Yeah, we actually got a new website in January, which works way better than our previous site. So we're very happy about that. Yeah, definitely growing.
So thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.